I'm Scott Meers with Alberta Agriculture and Rural Development, and we're going to talk about how to set up a Swede Midge trap for those of you that are helping with the surveillance program with Swede Midge. Okay, so when you get your package, you should get a number of things. I'll go through them here. You should get the protocol. It tells you in a little more detail the selection of the site and the setup. You should get a small supply of small zip ties. You should get 4 of these. These are lure holders for the lure. This is actually the pheromone lure, so you should get 4 of those as well. You should get a supply of rubber bands. You should get 4 of these plastic holders, and this is for attaching the trap to the stand, and you should get 4 of those stands as well. Okay, and there should be 4 of the hangers, 4 of the trap, and a supply of gloves, and also a supply of sticky cards that you'll put in the trap. So this is a pretty straightforward little trap. The big confusing parts will be actually how to hang it onto the stand. This is called a Jackson trap. You'll notice first off that I've put a label number on it, and I strongly suggest that you do that right away. So you'll get 4 of these, so you can just name them number 1 through 4 with your initials or whatever works for you. Do it with either pencil or a wax crayon, because we don't want anything that gives off a smell that will mess with the pheromone. So that's the trap. First thing we're going to do is actually put the pheromone in. So this is the pheromone holder, and we'll open it up here, the package, and then you have to put on a glove. And the reason for the glove is not so much to protect you as to protect the lure. Oils on our hands tend to mess up the lure efficacy. So here's the lure. So we just take it out of the package. So that's the package there. And you just actually slip it in. Like that. So that's set up and ready to put into the trap. And this just goes into the trap like this, just like a paper clip. Just slide it on like that. You can see that the lure is in there, nice and central to the trap. So that's ready to hang. Now the hanger, and this is a little different than the protocol you'll see in the paper. We kind of figured that this would not actually stay in our winds, so we're just adding the onto the hanger. Just double up one of these elastics you get, slide it over the top of this, and hook it onto the end there. And that'll keep it on there. It actually makes it quite secure. So that's ready actually to put onto the hanger. So this is an adjustable hanger that we've got to work with the fiberglass rod that we have. This is not standard to how it was set up in the instructions, but this is something we've been working on, and we think it'll work pretty good. So this is actually just an insulator from an electric fence, and we just snap it in like it would be on a fence. In order to keep it there, we have to put a zip tie. You'll see that we've drilled holes in there. So zip tie just around the metal bar there, then back up. Then tighten that down. And that'll keep that actually on that, on the insulator. Okay, so now we're going to put the trap actually onto the stand. You'd put the stand in the field before you started. We want it actually in between the rows in the field. So this is fairly simple. You just make sure the tightener is backed off, Just slide it down over the pole and down to the height you want to set it at. You'll notice that we've put flagging tape on the pole because it's hard to see, actually, these skinny white fiberglass poles. So we also learned by experience that you have to tape the flagging tape on, otherwise it falls down. So you just slide it down to the level you want it at and tighten it down. Now, when we first put it out in the spring, when the crop's just emerging, we want it at 20 centimeters above the soil, and as the crop grows, we'll move it up with the crop to a maximum of 60 centimeters, or about 2.5 feet. So in your supplies, you'll see that you get these sets of 4 sticky cards. In order to work with them, bend them back and forth to break them apart, and then you pull them apart. This is really nice stuff, and this is why we've left this to the end, because you almost always get sticky. So these cards just slide in. Now it's a tight fit, so you'll have to hold the trap and get it wiggled in there. So there you go, and just slide it in there. Okay, so those traps, the sticky cards are left in there until they get dirty, or every other week roughly. So you'll have a supply of these, and you'll be changing them out if they get dirty or if you get lots of insects on it and stuff like that. So when you take the sticky card out, first thing we want to do is put a label on the corners here where there's no sticky stuff. Put the trap, and on one corner and the other corner put the date it was set out and the date you took it back in from the field. And then for storage, we're going to roll it up, and you see I've bent it here and bent it. So you bend it sort of kind of into a square, and then you take one of those elastics. You've got a supply of these that came with your stuff, and you just slide it over there and store it like that. And that will actually keep the insects that are trapped from touching one another, and the scientists we're going to send this to in Saskatoon will be able to tell what's what. So, and then you can just set those in a storage box just like that. So once you've got your cards and you've put them away, if you suspect that there's Swede Midge on it, we'll want to send it in for verification as soon as possible, so you won't be storing it at all. If you don't suspect Swede Midge in the cards, then we'll be sending them in on a monthly basis. We'll be getting a hold of you and working out the shipping details, but you can actually store these in the freezer if it's possible. That's probably the best place to store them. But they're nice. They'll store nicely. Just put them in a box so they don't get crushed, and they'll store real well. And I want to thank you very much for helping us out with this surveillance for the Swede Midge. For more information, go to the Alberta Insect Pest Monitoring Network website.